Hi everyone. Today I'd like to talk about another Flickr Alley release, and this comes from 1953. It's El Vampiro Negro. This is an Argentine film noir, the third of three Argentinian films that the Film Foundation, Eddie Muller's Film Foundation, has restored through the auspices of the UCLA and released through Flickr Alley. The director is Roman Barreto, and one of the other two films that is in Flickr Alley's Film Foundation series, The Beast Must Die, also directed by Barreto. And I did a video on this last year, and I also did a video on the third one. This is The Bitter Stems. I can't recommend these movies any higher, and if you're a film noir fan especially, but if you're just a fan of international cinema, if you want to discover movies from other countries that were presumably lost and now have been found, at least a few of them, restored beautifully, this is a series to look out for. But to get to El Vampiro Negro, I want to talk briefly about the storyline and then show you some of the packaging, because one of the things that this series, the Film Foundation series through Flickr Alley, their releases are full of great supplements, and the packaging is pretty good too. So El Vampiro Negro, the Black Vampire, is it's a reworking of Fritz Lang's M from 1931, which was remade a few years before the Black Vampire by Joseph Losey. Now, Fritz Lang's M is obviously a classic of world cinema, of expressionism, very stylistically expressionistic, and also Peter Lorre's performance, his face itself is a great illustration of German expressionism. Rather, maybe a little bit of a cold film, certainly one of the most important films. Not a film I've often been drawn back to watch again. Now, a few months ago, I saw Joseph Losey's 1951 version of M that was called M. And I believe it was the same producer that produced Fritz Lang's M in Germany. Now, Losey's version is somewhat different in that he develops a kind of social commentary around it. In 1951. This was the time of the Red Scare and the blacklisting in Hollywood. Losey fills his cast with actors who were soon to be blacklisted. Some of them, it's their last Hollywood film for many years. Losey himself would be blacklisted. So Barreto draws on that expressionism of Fritz Lang, to be sure. And he also draws a bit on Losey's version as well, especially the use of locations. Losey very famously used a great LA landmark, the Bradbury building, in which like 20% of the film, I think, is filmed in the Bradbury building to a great degree, and it's so memorable. The Bradbury building is still there today. It's an architectural marvel. The interior of it, Losey filmed. It's been used in a lot of movies, but I think Losey's M employs it the most. And I think Barreto also draws on some other famous films. Certainly, you get a sense of there's a sewer scene that obviously Orson Welles in Third Man, but also Richard Basehart and He Walked by Night, right? Is that the title? I think it is. So there are elements, and there are elements in Fritz Lang's movie that Barreto uses, but he goes off in a totally different direction as far as he adds women to the story. And really, the women in this story, the mothers of the children who are the victims of this awful serial killer, this was not anywhere in Fritz Lang or in Losey's version. And in particular, we have one mother who is a nightclub singer. She in a sort of tawdry nightclub. She's not proud of what she has to do, but she has a daughter that she has to support. Her character is by far and away the most interesting character in the movie. And indeed, she is the star of the film. Her name was Olga Zuberi, and her name is actually above the title because she was a big star. In fact, she won the Best Actress Award for the Argentinian film industries that year. She's stunning looking. She has a great role to play. She plays it beautifully. The other main character is the prosecutor, who is in charge of the police investigation. And strangely enough, as you watch the film, he becomes sort of like another version of a vampire. A vampire is owned from the police point of view, and also from a kind of sexual point of view. Now, Barreto does something really interesting. He tries to downplay that we're actually in Buenos Aires. And he did that with The Beast Must Die as well, in that he uses locations that seem like a British architecture. Some of the signs, street signs, are in German, and it's presumably because he is not showing the police, uncritically. The police are rather sadistic, and during this time, in the 1950s, Argentina was ruled by a right-wing military dictatorship who did not look kindly on any kind of criticism of the police, which were reputed to be a very corrupt police force. And the movie is bookended by a trial. So we see this is not a whodunit. This is, how are we going to catch this guy? So we see him in the docket. We see the prosecutor and the defense attorney sparring with each other, and then we come back to that in the end of the movie. And Barreto was very Catholic, devoutly Catholic, and he ends both Vampiro Negro and The Beast Must Die with a quote from the Bible. He believed in divine justice, not in men's justice. So we have so the story is bookended. What do you do with these mentally ill people? Because this serial killer, this murderer, is clearly mentally ill. But what do you do with him? So the movie does confront that dilemma that we still have today. Now in the extras we get an interview with Barreto's son, and this is really great. And he's so proud that this Argentinian films of this era, which were very popular in the Spanish-speaking world. They had two fantastic studios that were constantly, they couldn't put out the product quick enough. Mexico was also very vibrant in this area, but all the films were lost, just about. So when he sees his father's work come back to life in these glorious restorations, you really feel the importance of it and what it means to a whole film culture, before it disappears. Mexico has done a bit of a better job, but we haven't gotten very many Mexican films from this era on Blu-ray in Region A, and hopefully we will in the future. And he's also great in just describing what his father was like, and he died fairly young. I don't think he was 50, and how in the final sequence of the film, the little girl who's in danger was actually Barreto's daughter, this interviewer sister. She was only in a couple of movies, but she's really good in this movie. She's the only one of the victims or potential victims that really has has to really act, and she does a great job doing it. So, terrific interview. And then there is a documentary which is called The Three M's, because we have the Fritz Lang, we have the Joseph Losey, and now we have the Roman Barreto version. And this includes a bunch of talking heads that really are so entertaining. They know what they're talking about. We have Eddie Muller, who also provides a great introduction to the movie. And watch that first. He's not going to give anything away. But once you see Eddie Muller's introduction, as always, he's so enthusiastic. I can't wait to get to the movie. So watch that first. But he's part of this 3M's documentary along with Alan K. Rody, who's also part of the Film Foundation, and various other people. Patrick McGilligan, who wrote a great biography of Fritz Lang. I read that, I think, last year or the year before. If you like Fritz Lang films, very much recommend his biography. Also, Imogen Sarah Smith turns up. She also writes the essay in the supplements, and she's always welcome for any film noir, any movie whatsoever. In fact, next month, I think in February, Orson Welles' The Lady from Shanghai will be released by Kino, and she will provide a full commentary. If you've never heard one of her commentaries, they're great. But it's going to be a dueling commentary because there's actually 2 commentaries on The Lady from Shanghai. Tim Lucas, also who provides great commentaries, he's going to do another one. That's a must-buy day one for me because the film itself is worth watching over The Lady from Shanghai over and over again. So here's the release. It's both a DVD and a Blu-ray, and it does give you a opportunity for a reverse cover, which looks like this, which is original poster art, and then it gives you a booklet. And as I say, Imogen Sarah Smith has a short essay. It could have been much longer. Here is our villain. Here is Olga Zuberi. And again, here's I think this is the German poster art. And the rest of the booklet is really great photos from the movie. And here we have Olga Zuberi, and this, I didn't write this is the actor who plays the prosecutor. So again, you get a sense of the expressionism of Beretta and his cinematographer. His cinematographer, was well known for the kind of expressionistic black and white. You see the shadows, and so just another fantastic Beretta. Here is Beretta at work on editing. His son in his interview said Beretta was just consumed with the importance of editing, but he also wrote his own scripts. Now in this film, and like most of his films, he adds a co-writer. But his son said Beretta wrote every word. That was the co-writer for this film, was a famous cinematographer who had nothing to do with the film, but that was Beretta didn't like to take all the credit for all the works. And I love these kind of behind the scenes shots of what it was like to make films in the 1950s. So again, another really strong recommendation. 2 Flicker Alleys to start the year, The Whistle of Eden Falls, and now El Vampiro Negro. Okay, thanks a lot for everybody who listened. I do appreciate it. Comments are welcome. Take care.